This is the EGC 20k Age of Empires 4 tournament. We are here to witness the final 16 generals in battle, and a new war has just begun. Greetings, travelers. My name's Anuki. What's your name? Wow, what a great name! Here are some other names you should know. Can I get a hey-ho for Tatoh representing Northside France? They're in the blue tutu, and for some reason at this distance, I always think that's a golden tiger statue. Nobody builds golden wolf statues. Nobody! Laying low, on the down low to the south. They're gonna have at it. It's Kasva as friends, and they are as good as red. Debut de match. Brace yourselves for a civil war, but if this isn't your first time experiencing France versus France, then, well, you know the rodeo, but for those who are new, God, I hope I can convince you to play some Age of Empires after this, but here's the sitrep, okay? France at the moment is played very cavalry-centric. They have a unique unit, the Royal Knights, which can get an upgrade, which heals them whilst out of combat. France will look to take advantage of this by trying to kill enemy villagers, then waiting outside the enemy village to heal up before going back in and doing the same. France, of course, has a lot of other benefits economically, but this is harder to see, and here on Ironcast, we like to follow the action. France can be pretty slow going. Royal Knights are strong, but they are expensive. It's all about the defense when playing against France. If you can survive that initial Knight strike, you can at least pass the first barrier. In a match between France and France, though, both players will have to outdo each other on attack and defense. Our generals today have managed to defeat 5 opponents before this in a best of 1. We have no reports, sadly, on their previous victories, but this is a best of 3, though. And the winner here will not be able to play France next time. So you can't just rely on France to pull you through. We are talking players in the top 100 on the leaderboards. Kasva, I have had the luxury of witnessing, and of course they are a high caliber of player who has etched their mark in the public eye as one to look out for. Forgive me, Tatoh, but I have not had the privilege to discover your talents just yet, but I am excited to see you carve your name in the Age of Empires stone. Or might you etch a sketched away, erased from history? Something like that. Generals in the top 100, though, always intrigue me as a strategy analyst, with Age of Empires 4 being new, and this tournament occurring only 2 weeks after the release. It's the stages where we are building up player profiles, the skills they have, the ways they approach the game, and Kasva and Tatoh will be observed, like any competitors, very closely. And if you would like to observe competitive play very closely, then do check out the EGC Discord. The link will be provided in the video description. They are the hosts of the tournament and will be doing future events, some already planned. We'll be covering some of those events here on Ironcast, as well as some of our own events. Loads of reasons to join if you want to get involved in some games and be casted, or if you just want to talk about production stuff and learn, maybe work together on something, or get involved in the big Total War-like Civilization Team War series we've got planned. Then check out the video description. Again, the link will be there. Okay. Has anyone been defeated yet? No. Awesome. We're doing great for time. The map is Dry Arabia. I forgot to introduce you. The victory conditions are always the same. Annihilation, Sacred Sites, and Wonders. Or if you think you can pull it off, all 3 at the same time. Why not? We have not had any sacred victories just yet. Although there are some rumors that Delhi Sultanate with their early monks have been capturing sacred sites early on. Maybe we shall see some of that in the future best of 5s. The format for the round of 16 is best of 3s. And the quarterfinals and semifinals are a best of 5, with the finals being a best of 7. Kasva, scouting around, has discovered there's some berry pickers just on the edge of that town center's range, and likewise Tatoh has done the same. Tatoh also extended out a bit, getting an outpost near the deer, so maybe a mill will go there soon. The knights are out, and Kasva has sent theirs to the west of Tatoh's village. It does seem like Tatoh is doing this a bit differently. They are focusing on defending with their royal knights. Usually, even in a France mirror matchup, everyone just wants to focus down villagers. So I'm absolutely thrilled to see how Tatoh is approaching this, because it is different. And Kasva, even though they have scouted, might be kind of confused to find that the blue royal knights are playing home defense, which is why they haven't attacked until now, like so many other generals would have already. Kasva has split the red knights up. They are all going solo and probing Tatoh's settlement. A knight in the north gets a lone berry picker. Tatoh's got a couple of knights riding around together and having a jolly time, but if Kasva attacks like this, then they're going to be running between places trying to save villagers. It's a cat and mouse situation, but the cat isn't the one living inside their own home in terror. Tatoh's still got access to everything they need, though. Honestly, it almost feels like this northern mill is a dummy. It's just a decoy. It's a shame about the lost villager, yeah, but the rest are on sheep and mining safely. Tatoh's knights chasing all the way to Kasva town. Tatoh will probably pull these back, though, before they get in any real danger. At least, though, they kept them occupied for quite some time as they chased them across the map. And then Kasva will chase them all the way back, bringing a few more knights. Then maybe Tatoh will do the same again. I mean, it's one way to space out the raids on your little village. Tatoh doesn't seem to be so mean-spirited. No heart of evil. Maybe they'll conquer Kasva without killing a single villager. It'll be a heart-warming tale. But I think strictly possibly impossible. Tatoh's knights are out for the night. Their woodcutters getting slammed. And you can see how tough those knights are against a hail of town center arrows. Tatoh just driving by Kasva's village, but seemingly without purpose. And Kasva's brought a load of villagers down to the very south side of the map to gather berries, perhaps in secret, being chased by a wolf. Well, the wolf knows. The wolf always knows. Did Tatoh see Kasva's villagers heading down there? The knights are moving that way. I don't think they did. There wasn't a scout around. Is it just a big flank? Tatoh switching off the pacifism. They are riding into a bad situation, riding into darkness. Then all these knights appear, totally outnumbering them. Kasva's chasing them to the south where their new mill is, their secret berry-picking spot for the finest of wines. We didn't want that to be discovered. Fortunately, though, for Kasva, Tatoh doesn't want to put themselves in that corner. They do lose a knight, and a scout tries to block and does actually score a kill. 2 knights, though, may just return. They will. And the mill is safe. Although there is a wolf still attacking. There is a wolf among us, eating all the little reds. My granny, what insatiable taste for villages you have. Well, there goes one. Tatoh might not have killed any villagers, but this wolf has. A single knight for Tatoh will go and strike at a villager, even with all those knights around. Kasva's moving to the east side. They will scare away the very few knights that Tatoh has brought here. Tatoh is sending out a cavalry party to rendezvous with these two. Lots of healing going off. Here is that rendezvous, and Kasva pulls away. Looks like Tatoh's village is having a taste of that peace now, whilst the horns sound around Kasva town. There's cavalry to the west, cavalry to the north. The knights collide. Tatoh's knights are focused. They wallop one of them down quickly. Kasva's knights take a bit longer to get in position to start hitting. And when that last blue knight joined the battle, rounding out the numbers, Kasva called the retreat. Tatoh also achieved a minor victory to the west, slaying some knights, unaware of the mill in the corner. Wolves have no fear. I sure hope someone's gonna mod in attack wolves, that'd be cool. Remember the attack dogs from Command & Conquer? Yeah, one Tanya, all attack dogs. Lose the game. Those were the days. Meat grinders holding up in the outpost. Tatoh's really stepped up the aggression. Was it by defending first they managed to change the shape or pattern of the game? If Kasva's knights took damage first from the town center, did that somehow distribute power, giving Tatoh the advantage? I wonder. It's food for thought, at least. We're past the 10-minute mark, and it's still nothing but knights. Tatoh expanding out to claim more deer. Seems like a risky move. Kasva so far has shown a willingness to explore different angles of attack. And that one is in the path of another group of knights heading that way now. Whilst Tatoh chases off these ones. By splitting up the knights like this, they'll always find a way in. There's always some entrance left unguarded, and you only need a few knights to slip by to cause a lot of havoc. These poor villagers scrambling to build an outpost. Built it in an instant, deleted in an instant. And Kasva just went straight by them. Oh, that was a few villagers missed. And I know what Tatoh is thinking. If only I had built that outpost first. Oh, that's what I always do. That's what I've done before. But not this time. And they might lose a mill because of it. Tatoh still roaming around the south side. But when are they going to explore this mill? Kasva going to strike in the top right. And something else that I notice Tatoh doing with these outposts and mills just outside their settlement is they're not assigning more than seemingly 6 villages at least. That way, all of them, but one can climb inside of the outpost. 6 villages, 5 slots in an outpost. It's survival of the fittest. Or a really crummy musical chairs. Kasva calling off the attack. A blacksmith going up for Tatoh. It feels quite late, but I'm sure it'll be fine. Both players still rocking just a single school of cavalry and 1 stables. Soon, though, we should start seeing enough resource income for them to branch out. But what's it going to be? Is it going to be more knights? Spearmen could be made now. And in the Castle Age, crossbows or spring elves. Those are the options. Tatoh running for their life. Could not make an attack there. And Tatoh's getting a lot of farms down near their town center. There's a lot of good food security, let's say. It's greater than Kasva's at the moment. The villagers will easily be able to hop inside the town center should they come under threat. Tatoh will crash his knights, creating a line against Kasva's knights. Backing them away when they get too low on health. Fighting the war of attrition. But it seems Kasva is able to puncture through the lines. How far can they really get, though? Tatoh's outposts lending themselves some arrow aid to help the knights defend. And the 1 gold villager that couldn't get inside the outpost. Perishes. Everyone on the wood line is called off. But the town center is full. There's nowhere for the woodworkers to hide except behind the Royal Knights. And that they did. One of the more successful attacks for Kasva. And Tatoh looks like they managed to get 2 knights whilst all that was going on. More defenses here for Kasva. Blacksmith between 2 mills. Obviously, what they wanted to do there was not pull any villagers off of other resources. They just dropped that blacksmith wherever there was some free villagers. And as strange as it looks, it doesn't really matter too much. No one's really focusing the blacksmiths in Age of Empires. It's a relatively safe job in these times where knights roam the land, purging everything they come across, or at least trying to. Too many villagers on food. Some of them weren't able to get to the carcass, so they're going to be reassigned to a different job. You have to wonder if you are really a general commanding an army or human resources managing logistics in Age of Empires 4. Well, you got to be both. There's an outpost going up for Tatoh on the north side of their settlement. Finally looking to claim those berries. They've not been too pressured to get them, though. They've been focused on gathering up the deer first. Tatoh with knights both on the left and the right. They find the large Royal Knight group for Kasva on the left, so they will strike harder on the right whilst kiting those folk around. Don't believe they'll be able to get too much with how few knights Tatoh has designated here. But it's not all about killing. Sometimes it's not about the resources denied by forcing villagers to hide in the outposts. Metal clashes again. And Tatoh's knights are stuck behind each other, so victory goes to Kasva. But as I was saying, by attacking often and preserving units as much as possible, you force your enemy to play at your pace, and if they don't match you, they start to lose bits and pieces here and there. And that seems to be one of the bits that Kasva is losing now on their eastern side of the settlement. No one's gained the upper hand just yet. Losses have been kept to a minimal. Tatoh is going to opt to fight under 2 of their outposts. But those arrows hardly do anything against the armor Royal Knights have. Possibly the biggest loss Tatoh has suffered thus far. There's so much heavy armor rolling around the Arabia. Kasva, after that last bout, has way more horsepower in the region. The gold miners climb inside the tower. The other 3 will walk off. And there's just too many knights for these outposts to have much of an impact now. They are just glorified houses. Only ordinary houses don't actually allow anyone to hide inside. Out go the gold miners. They're back in. One of them seems very confused. Only one villager loses their life, though. That's kind of fortunate. Kasva recalls the knights from their mission of terror. And holy hell, they are really sticking down these towers now for their population to take cover in. The 2 have fully adopted the same policy for keeping villages protected. A mill going down on the far southwest, and a market in the works for Kasva. Not the greatest distance for trading. I would hazard a guess at between 30 and 50 gold a trip. But not everyone gets a market to make traders. They get the market to make the trades, selling and buying. I don't know where that accent came from. Tatoh's got some more marauders to the south coming up for another assault. I'm not sure where these 2 knights are off to, but they won't be joining the defense that's looking a little lackluster. 2 knights might have made all the difference. They line up, cleaving away. Tatoh still trying to save the lives of individual knights. That one on the right, though, will get tapped. Tatoh looking strong, but Kasva pulls Knights away and brings them back in for the charge bonus. Not only is there extra damage from the lance breaking on an enemy, but the Royal Knights get bonus damage for the next 3 seconds. Kasva backs away from Tatoh's charge, and then they re-engage after that bonus is lost. It's looking very even. Kasva bringing another Knight into the mix, but it just rounds the numbers out again. 4 over 4. Here comes that 5th. And 2 Knights in the background. I would consider that one between Kasva and Tatoh a draw. Also matching Knights back over at Kasva's settlement. Nothing to be raided there. Now both generals are going to be tested on their hastiness on rebuilding an army. They both lost a considerable amount. And the cost is even higher if you remember that these are Knights and they've been non-stop pumping them out on a single town center each. Neither Kasva or Tatoh set themselves up for a long-term game. We have not even broke 100 population, and we're 20 minutes in. Kasva did decide to get a couple of barracks, so we're probably going to see some red spearmen soon. Now, usually when spearmen fail, it's because Knights have amassed too much in number, but after a significant loss like that, there's time to catch up in numbers for spearmen. Will Kasva get a battering ram with the spearmen? They'll absolutely demolish basic outposts, so there's not so much of a big deal to kill the outposts, but rather just to get the villagers out so they can bop them on the noggin with the sharp end of the blade. Kasva back to attacking these random mills out in the open. And here comes Tatoh's response right in the back with a charge damage. Getting a few clanks in, not many, with their bonus damage. Kasva retreats through the stealth forest, trying to disengage. And I'm surprised we haven't seen Castle Age yet, but neither player has felt comfortable pulling resources away from Knight production. They kind of got them to a point where it's like Factorio. Food and gold goes on the conveyor belt, squeezed into the stables, and out comes a lump of solid gold food, horseman, sword, shield, and stick. Looks like we've got some convergence happening. The proper stick people are here too, and they are gonna run behind the horses. And it's probably frightening for Tatoh to see something else besides Knights out. And I wonder, I don't think they're gonna engage on this, but I wonder if this will have given Tatoh the same idea. Because this happens in some games. Someone on the enemy team does something and you go, yeah, you know what? I should do that. I should buy that item. I should build these things, pick that character. I should choose that weapon, the P90, the greatest weapon of all time. Indeed. Kasva camping outside Tatoh's settlement, whilst Tatoh sending out 4 of their potatoes to go pick on this desolate mini village. There's nobody here. So they'll ride on to the next one. Kasva scouting at the back sees a bunch of farms there. Updated information. Here comes Tatoh swinging around the forest, discovers the marketplace and the villagers that have already hopped inside the outposts. There's not much to acquire here, but they'll go ahead and begin torching the outpost for about a millisecond before running onwards. There's a villager here left out by himself. Is Tatoh gonna see it? They're gonna go for it. Oh, I know there's action to the north, but I want to see if this villager makes it out. 1, 2 hits. And they make it inside. Okay, going up to the top and seeing a big battle, big clash. And Tatoh is taking spears to the horses. More reinforcements arrive for Kasva. More spears too. Tatoh has to issue the order to retreat. But what can Kasva do with the military forces they have at their disposal up here? Torching outposts might be a slow way to go, but it will encourage Tatoh to come out and fight. Not for too long, though. They know they can't win it, but they can at least try and make Kasva go back and forth whilst more units get produced, but it's still just knights. The gold villagers make a break for it. Seems like Tatoh is almost holding some ground now, but those few spearmen really have tilted the scales more in Kasva's favor. And now Tato's lost access to that gold, whilst Kasva has double mined up on a large plot of gold. This is where it can get worrisome for Tatoh, because being cut off from that gold would mean no more knights. Unless they can harvest lots more wood and sell it for gold, but that's only going to be a short-term solution if that is indeed what Tatoh is thinking here. Perhaps they can return the punishment back to Kasva and equal things out. But I don't believe they know the location, or at least that Kasva is mining the gold. They know the locations of where the gold is on the map. And should they send their armies to each gold location that is remaining, they would, of course, discover that massive truth that Kasva has a lot of villagers mining gold. Instead, they're going to go strike at the heart of Kasva's village. They'll all just get inside the town center. And there wasn't anything that could be achieved with so few knights here. Now, we did see Tatoh construct some barracks. In fact, 3. I was seeing one earlier. So they can make the switch to just food and wood for spearmen. They've still got a small gold mine to tide them over in the north for the time being, but considerations have been made before that runs out. And the location of these barracks was easy for Kasva to access. So they'll start throwing torches against the brickwork. Tatoh does discover this large mining operation, but it's going to be very difficult to try and allocate any of their military resources to try and do something about that, whilst all this other stuff is going on. Kasva being chased away on the right by a very small force. The barracks was indeed destroyed, and now the spears are going at spears. Feels like I'm in a different kind of reality when France is building spearmen. Not much hope for these blue knights, especially as a division of spearmen were en route. Still no effective way to knock down buildings just yet, and as we move closer to the 30-minute mark, it still feels like we're in some kind of early game. The general's victory conditions lie within pushing villagers away from being able to gather resources. Tato's area of influence is slowly shrinking, losing their mill to the east of their settlement. More barracks being constructed, more spearmen arriving. Tato's devoting over 30 villagers to wood, almost 20 on food. This is quite a low villager count at the moment. Kasva has 80 villagers in total, and all of them are enjoying their life. The raiding has stopped as Tatoh tries to gather up a large enough party before venturing forth. Here goes the spears, and that one very overly brave knight makes an incorrect judgment. But even when it comes to spearmen, Kasva has more of them. The berry pickers walk away as the blue knights try to provide cover, and they just stand there. This is not a battle Tatoh can win. More reinforcements do arrive. Tatoh has called the numbers. It seems somehow, yet again, they've managed to find some respite. Incredible. After every single battle, the numbers are thinned greatly, and Kasva is left with too few units to make a dent. There's still no castle age, which means still no siege units. This might very well be the longest feudal age battle in Age of Empires 4 history. Granted, that history is 2 weeks. Kasva looking very strong on production, though. That army crosses the map and gathers up, waiting to find the next battle. But again, without those siege units, it's kind of difficult to figure out where they strike. Feudal Age is very much about, you know, hitting the enemy in their economy. And whilst Kasva has won many battles, they haven't damaged the economy, obviously, enough to get a win out of the game yet. Tatoh down here with 5 knights, hugging the edge of the map, looking for a place to strike. They are going in completely blind. Whilst Kasva does manage to spot them, there's so many outposts around that vision is huge. Tatoh will get a few villages here and there, but Kasva has a large domain. The villagers there aren't really working much anymore. I mean, the villagers there have the least value by far. It's the gold villagers over in the west that they want to take. Spears will chase away the blue royal knights. Whilst farmland is even getting torched. Burn it all. Even the school of cavalry is taking a light torching to. Out of the battle occurring over in the east. And I'd just like to say that line formations to begin a battle will really help try and surround your enemy, or at least get your units attacking as soon as possible, rather than trying to find a way around their friendly units. And it really does make me wish that the spearmen could attack in the 2-line formation, like the Delhi Sultanate upgrade. Absolutely love that upgrade. Outposts burning down. Tatoh's seemingly ran out of units now. Even so, the only thing Kasva can do is take it slow. Torching buildings takes a long time. Tatoh's getting more outposts in the hopes that it's going to protect that small mill. Meanwhile, Kasva is kind of just patrolling around, taking it easy. The drums of war are off for the moment. Oh, no, they're back on. You can't rest here. There are enemies nearby, and enemies nearby there are! As Tatoh attacks again with a very small force. Oh, now retreating. I would boldly put forward the suggestion to get some archers out, but really it's a numerical problem for Tatoh. Often we see in France versus France matchups, we usually just see the Royal Knights part, but this has really escalated out of control. In a non-France versus France matchup, like France versus England, you'll traditionally see archers grouped up with knights because of the spearman presence on the battlefield. And if there was foresight that the game was going to go this way like 10 minutes ago, then yeah, maybe we would have seen some archers for either Kasva or Tatoh. But I don't think this was really on the list of predictions of what might happen for either general. Dispatching spearmen, though, with archers would have made this battle be all the better for Tatoh. They manage to get Kasva on the retreat. They're going to go in a smaller funnel, which in a sense kind of works against them, but it's just a numerical matchup again. It's fine. Remember the rules. When you have more than your enemy, you want to be able to fan around them and make sure all your soldiers can attack. When you have less than your enemy, you kind of want to force those small 5-on-5s instead of a 5-on-15. Make their numbers count for less. A few knights on both sides of the map, just roaming around each other's settlement. And incredible, we just have spear on spear. The Royal Knights are out of the equation. We don't want those anymore. And our long conversation about tactics and strategy is applicable once more. Kasva's remaining Red Royal Knights will hop along and join this cleanup. There's a few units left and a castle being built. It's a castle with a white flag on it. Northern France has been defeated. Congratulations to Kasva on their first victory in this best of 3. Usually we would analyze these games, but there's so many to cover, I don't have time for that, and therefore you don't either. Your time is valuable. So you can watch the next game already. My name's Anuki, enjoy the battle highlights, and I'll see you soon.